The State Department-sponsored report examining the September 11th attack on the U.S. Consulate in Benghazi has been completed, and now in Secretary Clinton's hands, for that matter. But the Secretary won't be able to testify this week before Congress about those findings or anything else because she has a concussion. Joining us now, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and Fox News contributor, Judith Miller. Bill Roggio, he's the editor of the Long War Journal, senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and it's good to have you with us, Bill. Judy, let me begin with you. This report, is it, in your judgment, going to allay concerns, answer the questions that have been posed about what happened and who's responsible for the events in Benghazi?
I'm very optimistic, Lou, that it's going to shed a lot of light on a lot of the questions that you and other people at Fox have been asking repeatedly about Benghazi, because Pinkerton, the man who's in charge of this, is really experienced. He's seen all of the kind of excuses before, and he knows how to assign blame.
Do you agree, Bill?
I don't agree as much. I think Washington certainly has a culture of covering for each other, and I don't see that this report pointing such stark figures. I suspect there'll be lots of obfuscation on the point of who's actually responsible, and we won't see anyone pay a price. Look, in the wake of 9/11, no one resigned and no one was fired, and I don't expect any feet to be held to the fire for a much smaller incident like Benghazi.
Yeah, the accountability. I mean, the fact is there's just one pitiful, I guess we can call him producer of an amateurish video. That person is in jail. There has been no other accountability for the events that transpired in Benghazi. But I want to, just to support Bill's point there, but I want to turn to, if I may, Secretary Clinton's absence from the congressional inquiry process. She had said she did not want to testify. The first time she was in Asia with the president. The second time she had said she didn't want to testify. Then the third time she said she had had a concussion. And then everyone, of course, all of us would be concerned about her well-being. But the concussion came at the most fortuitous time. Are you at all suspicious of that?
Well, in Washington and even in New York, one must be suspicious of all claims of this kind. However, I do believe that if a doctor says she has a concussion, she has a concussion. Whether or not it's the most politically fortunate fall at this point, I don't know. But I must say this, Lou. Mm-hmm. I think that in a report like this, Ambassador Pickering is going to have to answer some of the questions that we've been raising, and blame will have to be assigned. You know, there are 4 dead Americans. We can't just forget about them, pretend it didn't happen. We have to ask tough questions about security, and we're going to. And Hillary Clinton has been a master at dodging either appearing on the air. She put out Susan Rice instead to do that. She has been a master so far at dodging responsibility.
If I may.
Except she did claim, she said, I accept responsibility before the president did.
Well, it was such a stampede to accept responsibility that one gets lost in some of the numbers. But I think we have to point out that the facts are that she says, Ambassador Rice, that she appeared on those 5 stations not at the request of Secretary Clinton, but rather the White House itself. I don't know if that's a distinction without a difference. You be the judge. Bill, your final thoughts on Benghazi, what we can reasonably hope for. Now, the heck with hope for. What you think we can reasonably expect here?
What I think we should hope for, though, is that we find out why the White House scrubbed the mention of al-Qaeda and al-Qaeda-affiliated groups when on the talking points on Benghazi. I think all this talk about Susan Rice is sort of a deflection from that real issue, and the press really needs to ask these questions. And I would like to think that this report would get to the bottom of it, but it seems like everybody's just turning the other way and running instead of taking responsibility for modifying the talking points. We knew within 12 hours of the attack that al-Qaeda was involved in this attack on Benghazi, and yet we were told that this attack came out of some protest, and that's not the case. There was never a protest. It was an organized armed attack on the consulate, and the American public should be made aware of that. And unfortunately, they weren't given the truth prior to the election.
Well, they were, in point of fact, I'm proud to say, to be associated with Fox News, they were apprised of those facts. In fact, the fact that an al-Qaeda-linked group had posted on its website a warning of the attack before it occurred, as well as claiming credit for it after it had. Bill Roggio, I take your point, and I thank you for being here. I hope you'll come back soon. Judy Miller, thank you so much.
Thank you.